Well, hello, all you good people. Welcome back to another episode of Awaken Your Imagination. Tom from Florida back with you, talking about all things related to Neville Goddard, the gospel of Christ in you, which is Paul's gospel, which he calls the gospel, manifesting your desires, walking in faith. What do you do when the opposite seems to happen? Just all real life stuff that we deal with and go through on this process of awakening, of which there is a very powerful, tremendous awakening happening in the earth right now. The beauty of which it is without label. It's not required that you're a part of any particular organization or community of faith or non-faith. Quite the contrary, it is the eruption of Christ himself within you, the individual, the fullness of God bodily. And so it's a radical, beautiful, wonderful, jarring thing that takes place in one's life. And so we're here to talk about it and what that means. Not that I have it all figured out, but such as I give to you. I have been some places in life and dealt some blows and know how to deal with it, right? And this is what Jude encourages us to do in the Bible, is to rescue them from the flames, those that are perishing in the flames, right? Through the furnaces of affliction. They don't know how to get out. They don't know how to realize there's a fourth man with them in the fire. And this is where the power of imagination and Neville's brilliance of teaching us how to harness it and how to appropriate it in our life. For that is God himself. Everything that is first began in imagination. Everything in this entire world. Observe anything and realize that it was once only imagined. And so you have this great power within you that is the very power of God himself and the wisdom of God. You can turn to imagination to give you wisdom in realizing those things that you want to experience. You're one that's stuck in the flames of the afflictions of sickness or dis-ease, a lack of ease, or in a realm of lack or poverty, or in a realm of fear and worry, or in a realm of grumbling and complaining and anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. Whatever low vibratory state you don't want in your life anymore, here's the beautiful thing, guys. You created it. You can instantly uncreate it by entering into a new state. Now, Neville talks about this a lot in the Bible. All of the characters and stories are allegories to help us understand the states of consciousness through which you will pass and experience during this unfolding of God's brilliant plan to reveal himself in you and as you. Christ in you, the hope of glory. A hope that does not disappoint. But see, hope is the beginning of the process, like a recognition of something. I'll tell it to you this way as we talk about states. I feel like it's important to understand this. My family and I did a road trip last month to Pennsylvania from here in Florida. And the thrill of the road trip for my kids was passing through each state. We would see the upcoming boundary, a big sign, welcome to Georgia, welcome to South Carolina. And we do a little countdown. You could see it as it came. And when we crossed the threshold, everybody celebrated and cheered as we entered into a new state. The interesting thing of which each state has their own characteristics to them. So in Georgia, there's signs for fresh peaches everywhere and boiled peanuts. And the people are very warm and hospitable on average. And they speak with a deep southern drawl. You get things there you don't get in the other states, right? And so you're in a particular state that you don't want to be in anymore. And hope is like that road sign up ahead that says, hey, I know of this power. I've read about it in Neville. I've seen Tom's videos. I've heard other miracle stories. I've heard of these things happening in the earth. But there's a desire in you. There's a stirring within your consciousness that says, I too want to experience these things. That's the lame man at the pool of Siloam. The first one to go in the waters were instantly healed. And the man says, I have no one to put me in when the angel comes to stir the waters. Well, the angel is your messenger. That is your desire. That is your promise of something that you want to experience. The lame man, he wants to walk again. The poor man wants riches. Listen, Jesus comes to that man and he heals him. Christ who is in you, you must realize that you are the only one that can be the first one into those waters of your own consciousness, that which is within you, your own being. Practically, we're understanding with wisdom how to apply this knowledge of what it means for the kingdom of heaven to dwell within me, as Jesus said. Well, here's the practical means, wisdom by which you do it. You imagine yourself in a new state. Can you, like me and my family traveling from Florida into the Georgia line, cross in imagination into a new threshold? Whereas once I see it on a movie screen as if it's in my distant future, one day things will change. One day I'll be healed. I'm believing one day I'll be rich. Well, no, that which is only a hope, which does not disappoint. You must actually enter into that state, cross that boundary, and you are now dwelling in the thing. You are now feeling the peach in your hand and smelling its aroma and tasting and seeing that it is good. You're experiencing in imagination the thing that you want to experience in your physical reality. Because this is the awakening. The imaginal spiritual world is the real world that endures forever. And this physical world is its shadow. When you perform an imaginal act with feeling, you are planting a seed that grows in this garden of God, this vegetable universe, as Neville says, quoting William Blake. So you become Rahab the harlot. Joshua, who's the same name as Jesus in the Hebrew, which means Jehovah saves. The Bible trying to teach us the means by which we create our world, experience in this physical 3D reality the powers of imagination. Who is God's power in you? And so Joshua comes to the city of Jericho, which means a fragrant flower, a flower in the desert. Well, this is your world. You have a barren, dry place. You're always going to have a place whereby you can cause it to come into bloom. I make rivers of water in the desert, the prophet Isaiah said. In vision. It's all in vision. He sees this. And you experience it in your 3D reality. It's something very real. So Joshua sees Jericho, and from the outside looking in, it looks like a giant wall. It's impenetrable. Picture it. There's your thing that seems like a mountain before you. There's the soldiers on the wall. It's impenetrable. I can't get into this city of riches, the city of my promise, of my inheritance. And so he sends Rahab the spy in the city. She's the harlot. She's the one that does the bidding of whatever men desire of her. You must be able to impress, like Rahab, upon yourself. Call it your subconscious, if you will. That place within you that is the very rich, fertile soil of the kingdom of heaven that interconnects you with all that is. God himself, everyone, everything. There's nothing but God in this world. And so you are Rahab. You are imaginally able to go within the heart of the city. So Rahab's able to penetrate the walls. There's a creative act that happens where you imagine your new state that you want to move into and the characteristics associated with health and feeling great. And you see yourself doing something you couldn't do before. And you're hearing the sound of a friend's voice congratulating you on your miraculous recovery and the look on their faces and the joy and the light shining from people's countenance, from your own countenance. Come on, see yourself there on the theater of your mind, yourself alive, healthy, well, full of ease. Give yourself all of the characteristics of that state of divine life. This is the secret, guys. You must become the thing that you desire. Feel it flowing through you, knowing that you are of this new state, like a living room. Here I am in my living room studio of my home, which, by the way, was originally used by the original owners to host missionaries who came to the area. So here I am bringing you this great gospel in a way maybe you haven't heard it before, that the power and the wisdom of God dwells in you. And this is the way you appropriate it. You imaginally go into the new state, dwell in the heart of the city, and when you feel that sense of relief, that you've forgotten all of your physical sense, like Jesus says, you're praying, you're there in your closet, shutting the door to your senses. And you're dwelling in the heart of Jericho. It is imaginally real, which is the only reality. And you feel it to be so. And you're now thinking from this place of this great, rich, fertile city and inheritance and rich and liveliness, whatever it is, that thing that you're specifically desiring, feel it all around you in your field. And know that you are of it and that you are one with it and that it is yours. You, like my family, have crossed into the border and we are celebrating and enjoying. Yeah, we've crossed over into a new state. You actually know the point in time when it happened, and you can look back in the old state and say, yep, we left Florida. You'll know that you've left it. It is now yours. You're dwelling in the heart of it. Simply, effortlessly rest in that place. Just assume it is so. That is the 7 days of marching around Jericho. Now from the outside looking in, those walls crumble. They are no more. They are dissolved into nothingness because 7 is God's completion. And Sabbath, which isn't a day of the week, it is the state of rest. Enjoy that. It is yours. It is right and it is good to study this, to test it for yourself, to talk about it within yourself, with others as you have the grace to do it. Listen, I listened to a Neville lecture the other night where he said, like clockwork, at 4 o'clock, he's reading his Bible. It's all he wants to talk about with people. And listen, it is right and it is good as you have the ability to talk about it with your family, with your inner circle of friends, those that you trust. There's a natural progression where you are a witness to that which is occurring within yourself, within your own Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and the uttermost parts of the world. So this channel is a product of me doing that. I also want to say this, when you come out of one state and into another, it is not wrong to help those that have been in that state. When you become well, you want to help those that were previously sick. My best friend overdosed from drugs 14 years ago. His mother visits schools and is an advocate for drug awareness and real help and hope that is there for those stuck in those states. It is right and it is good to be like, I don't know, Mel Gibson in We Were Soldiers, I think is the movie, where they would not leave a single person on the battlefield bloodied or dead. We were going to take them off of that field with us. And so this is part of my call. I've been through things. I want to help you through things. One of the biggest things I've come through is that of what I feel is very real religious oppression, the taskmaster of religion, I would call it. And so it is not wrong to help those that are stuck in those flames of affliction, if you will. And so I made a video directed towards pastors and church leaders that I'm going to put below in the comments. It is actually an unlisted video for now, meaning you can only watch it if you have the link. Many of you have reached out to me that want more understanding of the Bible and how the power of imagination is revealed throughout it. Some of you have expressed an interest in taking this to your church. So I made this video for you guys as one that would be a missionary sent from here to the churches. You read the book of Revelation, which is towards the end of the book. That's a big part of the story. Remember, it's the revelation of Jesus Christ is the title of that book, who is in you. It's a great revealing of what happens within you, part of which is an Armageddon. It is like an end of the world to everything you once thought you knew about God and about the world and the way it works, right? It's like this amazing thing. And in a no unlike way, when you're imagining specifically for something, if it's health, you must annihilate the enemy armies from before you. Wipe off the face of your earth anything contradictory to that which you're imagining and persisting in the assumption of. You must cut off your ear to anything outside of yourself that does not serve you, that does not bear fruit, that is a barren branch in your life. You are the vine dresser. I and my Father are one. My Father the vine dresser, cutting off any branch that doesn't bear fruit so that a fuller, more fruitful life can come through you and to you. So I said that to say, I have a deep love for those in the church. Listen, whether you're in the church, out of the church, this thing is beyond labels. But there is an awakening happening within the four walls of the institution. I'm not talking about changing the institution, but teaching those within the church this most marvelous of prayer techniques. As well as those out of the church, of course. Just being ourselves. So my point is, I'm doing it in my sphere in the way that I'm able to. If you want to assist me in that, I appreciate it. I need it. And more than that, I'm encouraging you to go do it in your own way that you do it. Your own unique, beautiful, wonderful self. The divine emanation of God the Father. And so I'm going to try to keep these videos a bit shorter. Thank you for the feedback. I hear you guys asking for shorter bite-sized videos. So I'm going to get into more little tender Neville nuggets, if you will, that are more digestible. I do have a vision for a long format thing in the future, maybe podcasting, interviewing people that are experiencing this. Some of those of you that have had this awakening and love to teach and talk about it as well. Some of you struggling, we can field live questions. I just see going into that realm as well. So we're letting it all just unfold so naturally and beautifully, and have fun doing it. That's the earmark. Listen, the peace of God will guard your heart. In the Amplified in Colossians 2, it says, the peace of God will rule and act as umpire continually in your heart. You can trust and be led and make calls and decisions based upon the peace that abides within you, that is yours. It's your power. Let no one take it from you. Walk in it, be confident in it, in that quiet confidence, that deep knowing that these things are yours. All things are yours. All right. I love you guys. That's enough for now. Talk again soon. Bye-bye.